Liebe Zuschauer, herzlich willkommen zu Inside Wall Street vom Parkett der New York Stock Exchange. Ich bin Manuel Koch und bei mir ist Ben Willis of the Albert Fright Company. Thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Ben, last week was a good week. The markets are going up and up. So what's going on?
Don't get used to it. I think the market has had a great run for the early in the year, the January effect. We've seen a lot of different impacts on the market, from macroeconomic data to money flows into equities to good earnings or bad earnings. So you've had some days where the stock market was a stock market, and other days it was a market of stocks. So I just feel that the run we've had in the stock market is about to take a rest here. We've hit some resistance, and it would be healthy for the market to come back a little bit. It may not. I think it will.
Let's talk about some details. For example, we saw Apple disappointing, but anyway, the market was increasing, so it's a strong market.
Right. Well, that's why a market of stocks or a stock market. Now, the NASDAQ composite that the Apple is most heavily weighted in the United States was down on the day. The S&P was basically flat because it has another significant weighting there, but the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the most watched average by the public, was up on the day Apple disappointed. But earlier in the week, we had some earnings out of some Dow Jones Industrial companies that showed some weakness there, and the NASDAQ was up. So we had this inverse effect from one indice to the other. But I think that's the kind of thing you can look for for the next few weeks or the end of this month. But I still think most of the indices I've been looking at are getting a little tired or losing momentum.
We saw some technical stocks like Apple challenging, also Microsoft. Analysts are not satisfied with the selling of the Windows 8 software. Do you think the tech stocks, it's more difficult for them at the moment?
It is, but again, if you're a long-term investor, that's probably your buying opportunity. We look at Albert Fried Company. We've been seeing some institutional money sniffing around the technology area. Now, you have individual stocks, obviously, like an Apple that has significant weighting, but I'm talking in general terms of the sector that we see some money, some of the higher risk or higher beta money, if you will, going into the technology area. So it's worth keeping an eye on.
We also saw on Friday the new home sales number. It was a bit disappointing, but still the housing market is doing well or better.
Absolutely. It's an area where a lot of active money traders have been trading. I'm a little nervous from a trading perspective because of the run it's had from its lows back in the 4 years ago when everybody was selling anything they could that had to do with real estate. Again, there was your opportunity to buy when nobody else wanted it. We've now recovered from those levels, so I want to be a little bit more careful in my selection if I'm looking at that industry.
When we look to this week, we will see the unemployment data on Friday. Do you expect anything driving the market?
If anything's going to drive the market above this resistance level, it would be an unemployment number. That would be the one particular macroeconomic data I think that would have that impact, that would get us over that line, so to speak. But you know, it's some of the most important numbers in the world, so that's the one we'll watch more than any other.
What else is important for you this week?
Well, I think to keep an eye on the marketplace. Right now, if I'm running widows and orphans money, I'm not creating any new long positions in this market. I think I'm going to get a chance to buy them a little bit cheaper. So I'm going to keep an eye on the momentum of the market, where the money is going, the trend indicators and things like that from a macroeconomic. That doesn't mean they're not values to be had in individual stocks, but that's not what I do. I watch the broader market.
Also, we will see on Wednesday maybe a big chance for Research in Motion. They will publish their new software. Do you think this could be a possibility for this company, or is it maybe the end?
I look at things differently. I can't really go specifically to individual companies, but they certainly have created, there is some value there. The question is whether it will be value for the existing shareholders or value for somebody else that can do something more with the platforms that RIM has. So that's the way most traders are looking at it. Is it really a standalone company, or is this going to be a more valuable asset that somebody can bolt on to their existing business somewhere else?
So again, the question: when next week? You think the markets are still increasing when we for the whole earnings season?
Yeah, I think we're bumping up against it. So I think best case scenario, we're going to stay where we are in relative terms, maybe slightly above. But I would look for right now, whether you follow the technical analysts or those that actually follow the moon and the stars, Mars, Uranus, and Jupiter are all lining up. Honest, I'm not making that stuff up. I couldn't if I wanted to. Are telling us there's a correction to come. And some of the best and brightest in the business, you have Mark Newton over at Grey Wolf. You have Tom DeMark saying the market should right now, and it's healthy. It's like trimming a rose bush. You need to prune it a little bit if you want it to continue to bloom, and that's what the market needs to do.
Will we see the 1,400 points at the Dow Jones before we pull back?
I know that's a century mark that everybody likes to talk about. Is it possible? Yes. I'd take the other side of the trade, though.
Right. Ben Willis of the Albert Freight Company. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Und Ihnen, liebe Zuschauer, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. Ben Willis guckt also in der kommenden Woche auch mal in die Sterne, was uns Jupiter sagen wird. Wir werden die nackten Zahlen dann ja auch selbst erleben. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen, dieses Mal vom Parkett der New York Stock Exchange. Bis bald.